plan.
Councilman Bryant has a question.
I have a
Yes, sir.
question, Mayor, may I address it at the screen? Question is, as far as replatting, if that was the dividing line, what's over here to the right to where it'd be a financial cost, of course, but closing that off and bringing your carport straight in this way, making that your carport, but from a.
To move it to the other side.
Over here, just driving straight in there with that closed off. I mean, that would still.
You're saying just
carport.
open this up right here and go
Yeah.
straight in? I don't know if the
So I don't know what's right
feasibility
here.
of that, I can't
The
remember.
only thing in the way right now is the guy wire. He's moving the fence and the guy wire.
It's good curve.
You have to close that curb, recut another one.
I don't think there's anything structure-wise that's in that monetary cost. I don't know what it would do.
I see the guide wire you're referring to.
But, I mean, I would have to step back and say, you know, well, that's not gonna fit her plan without some revision, knowing that now.
That was my biggest concern because driving, kind of turned up in your driveway. And to looking, and being a lady driver who needs backing out, I do great going forward, it's the backing out. And my concern was that if the fence was put up right there, that's gonna be a pretty sharp to back and turn to come back
It
out.
would be just too hard. I mean, it's too much
Because
cumbersome on anyone.
The way I looked at the carport, the only entrance really, you'd have to almost redo the carport to some extent to do what Councilman Bryant's talking about, and that's going up and you'd have to redo the carport to pull in to
And
the
if
side.
you did that, I think you would certainly limit yourself to one car, for sure. And this is just straight off the cuff because this is all news to me as well. I don't know if it'd be possible to even do it with restrictions. I don't know if you can supersede the city restrictions saying you know, this job's got to be left open, there can't be a fence
Ray,
there.
I think Ray has a comment.
Yeah, just to, there's some other issues that are coming into play about this. Even if the people didn't put a fence in and that becomes a property line, even if you throw the fence issue out of here, each lot requires its own driveway to its parking place. 2-car parking is required either by carport or garage. So even if you did that, you have to move that curb cut over to where that property line is, because your curb cut can't go into other people's property, okay? The curb cut has a 5-foot radius. You minus 5 from 8, what have you got left? That ends up with a, what, 3-foot driveway? So that, you know, something else is gonna have to be done here because of that requirement. Because that sweep on the curb cut's a 5-foot radius.
And that needs to be 60 feet wide on the front of the property, correct?
The driveway?
The property line on the facing the street has to be 60 feet wide.
The drive, no, I don't have to double check on that. There's a square footage requirement, a minimum. But you're talking about on the other piece of property or this piece of property?
The piece that she's trying to sell.
It's got a curb already, a drive already.
Yeah, it's got its own drive on there, but if you're talking about a 60-foot frontage on the lot, is that what you're talking about? If they use a portion of that just as an entranceway and then open up,
You were talking about a 60 by 200 lot.
Right.
and
That's what it would be
it
if
needs to
this,
be-
where I originally was bringing it, was gonna come back over here, and it was gonna roughly be 45 across the front, and then we were gonna have to go back, I'm not sure, 15, 18, 20 feet, whatever it is, and then come back over here to give the other 15 feet or whatever to make it 60, and then go straight back. Our variance then would have been asking for a little bit less than the 60 on the front. That would have left Kim her complete driveway, and it would have just made that other property a little bit of a different shape, but enough trees in there that would have probably been more of an asset than anything negative. That was the original thing that we were going to ask for, and was basically encouraged to leave it back at 60 by 200, so that's the route we went.
Any other questions of council at this time? Councilman Bryant?
Is that something she's willing to consider, the property owner is willing to consider, is turning that into, maybe extending it, making it a 2-car carport and building another drive over on the right, in front of the yard, if there's no structures in the way? That's something,
Kim, is that anything you want to put into that? He's talking about if you were to make your drive further over this, am I right, Chris?
Correct.
Make your drive here, drive straight into your carport.
Remember we talked about that with Ty? I don't see a problem with that. He didn't either.
So you would not have a problem if there was, this was total, like we talked about, that if this was fenced off, you could not swing into your only way you're gonna use your garage is straight from the highway, straight from Bridges Street to straight in.
So, but I wasn't sure that we could do that because of the fencing thing and all that.
That would, it would just be your cost to do it. Is that something you would be in agreement with?
You can also enter, so it's carpool in the back, when you enter in from the alley. So there is
It could be taken off the side of the house and moved around to the back.
The carport.
Yes.
That was something we talked about. Is that a monetary thing you would be willing to take on if approved?
One-way alley.
There's a one-way alley, yes, but you would have to park on your side, obviously, and not in the alley.
Yes, I understand that.
No, I don't.
That's just one of the previous ones was over here.
Oh, back, I'm sorry, yes. There.
There you
That
go.
one.
Is that something that you're willing to do if that's what it takes?
Yes.
Okay, any other questions of council at this time? Yes, Councilman Ramsey.
Someone said that it's a one-way alley.
It's not a one-way alley. There's no such thing
I'm
as a
sorry, I
one-way
thought I
alley.
heard
It's
that,
smart.
that's why I wanted to.
I heard that also, and I was talking to Jim about it, but there's no designation of that being a one-way alley.
If it's 15 feet, I always thought it was a one-way alley. It is for the highway department.
No, not a big one car at a time go through there.
Well, that could be true. One car at a time is supposed to be one way. But it's a T-shaped alley across that goes in, it doesn't go through the block. It tees into the alley going, I don't know if it's east and west or north or south, whichever, but it goes across the back of the property and out to the side streets.
Any other discussion from council? Yes, Councilman Ramsey.
Okay, Marilyn said, and I think Kim agreed, I don't know if it can be put with a stipulation that we just talked about, that that side garage would have to come down and she would have to put it a place on the park.
Or
On
either
the back-
enter
in
it
the
straight
back.
from the front?
Right, but that would have to be part of our
Stipulation of the replat.
stipulation of the replat, because otherwise I'm not comfortable with doing it as it is.
is that a stipulation, or does that word get?
Contingent on it or something?
Mr. Code?
If you're looking at an opinion for me, I don't think that's a recommendation that this council can make at this point. I mean, it wasn't an action item taken out of P and Z, and I'm not saying that you're not into what P and Z action takes. But this is not a conditional use permit, it's not a specific use permit where the council is allowed to go back and make other changes to it. This is strictly for a replat of that property, so we can just stick to whether you replat the property or not.
Okay. Thank you, Brady.
I do believe if I understand the issue right, that there might be a possibility, no guarantees on this, do back and look, but for the property owners to apply for some type of variance possible. That sound right, Mr. McCain?
I'm sure you probably could, but,
Any other comment from council at this time? We'll go to the audience at this time. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to come up and make comment on this agenda item to discuss the replat of property from one lot into two lots at 102 Bridget Lane? Yes, ma'am, you'd like to come comment? If you please go to the podium, state your name and your physical address.
My name is Janet Stevenson, and I'm at 307 Biloxi Street. My backyard comes up to this property, and so I was notified of the rezoning. When I was sent the letter, it wasn't a a matter of actually splitting the property in order for the property to be sold. It was.
This is the next agenda item, rezoning.
Oh, okay. So I can't talk about that right
Not at this point.
I'm sorry.
Next one.
That's okay. That's all right. I've been sort of confused with some of this myself. Anyone else in the audience would like to comment on the replat of the property from one lot into two lots at 102 Bridget Lane? Anyone in the audience? Okay, coming back to council, I would seek to entertain and see if there's a motion to be entertained on item number 5.
I have a question to make sure that I'm understanding what's to be done. I want to clarify, it, not for myself, but for everybody, well, for myself and everyone. So based on what our attorney is saying, that our decision is that we either agree with the way the P&Z has approved it of splitting the lot as is, or disapproving splitting the lot as is. And if we decide not to agree with that, and they go, can they go back to the P&Z and have it rezoned in another, made another, replatted in another manner?
Ray, I don't think y'all's ordinances prohibit a time period on when they can reapply for replatting. Now, of course, I think there is a rezoning, that's the next action.
Yeah, what they can do is they can go back and depending on which option they want to exercise, they would resubmit through the planning and zoning. They've already paid their fee to do it once. I mean, as the council, we can waive their fee, as far as the cost to go back through, that's up to the city administrator and council, but simply all they have to do is go back to the P&Z with an option that's going to eliminate the problems that they have and resubmit.
Okay. Councilman Jones?
I can see us approving this, except, that if we allow that plat to stand, and they do put a fence right in the center of her driveway, it's effectively gonna close the driveway, and it's gonna force her to come up with another entrance to come into her garage, and it may force her to move her garage. So, I'd almost want her to go back and replat it and resubmit it, a different plat, where she cuts up, regains her driveway, and eliminates the whole problem here. But,
Okay. Have a comment, Ray? The way I understand, the council either has to vote yea or nay at this point. We cannot just let this, pass this up. There has to be a yes, up or down vote on this. Yes or no today. Because the P&Z made a ruling. So I ask again, is there a motion to be entertained for or against the replat of property from one lot into two lots at 102 Bridget Lane?
Mayor, if I intervene,
Yes.
I guess you could always take the action if you want to place this motion on the table. I guess you can do that. So, just clarify your comments.
Postpone it to
I have a question on that. If we table, does that not approve a yes vote from the P&Z?
I was understanding that if we don't do anything, then it's approved.
No, you decide to place the next item 5 on the table as well. you'd be okay on that to be considered up again. It's just we take no action item on that. It really has to be as far as no automatic approval.
That would give her time to look at her options
Okay.
as far as moving the garage or the carport to the rear.
So the council could take no action tonight on item 5.
Well, no, you need to either place it on the table or
Okay.
approve it or not.
Okay.
No action would approve that.
It's still gonna end up going back to
Okay.
the P&Z, right?
Pardon?
It's still gonna end up going back to the P&Z.
I would have postponed it to the next council.
But tabling means for this meeting. Postpone means for another meeting.
Postpone to the next.
The tables.
Table means this meeting, pick it up again this meeting. I understand, tabling.
The mayor's correct.
Pardon me?
I said tabling means we postpone it in this meeting.
Yes.
Postpone means to another meeting.
Yes.
Tabling means we pick it up again before this meeting is over.
Right.
See,
Okay.
Is that correct?
well, here's the other issue. If they change what they've submitted, it's gotta go back through the P&Z process. So tabling it is not gonna do any good.
If they choose to move their carport to the back, problem solved. If they can open the carport up to the front, problem solved. Because our setbacks, it meets our setbacks requirements as it sits. The turning into the carport is the only question.
Well, it's the driveway is the issue here, because the driveways aren't
Good.
right.
It's hard to see it.
May I ask Marilyn a question?
Okay.
Is that out of line?
No, Marilyn wants to come back to the podium. I don't like things happening from the audience.